Hello and welcome back to Bricking It. So last week we worked on the Shrieking Shack. Here it is tucked away in its cover. And this week we're going to look at integrating that into a minifigure scale scene. So with our shack out on its base and with its backdrop up, forms a little lonely scene by itself. So here's how we're going to integrate it into a minifig scale. Just got this base, just a section of the lane leading between Hogwarts and Hogsmeade. Nothing too special, just a couple of plate layers. It's tiled off on the top, and of course it comes apart into two pieces so that we can pack it away, because it wouldn't be one of my displays if we couldn't pack it away. Hence the need for these snot bricks on the back. So we'll just pack away these loose tiles, and I'll show you how we put this one away. So much like a lot of our other hidden scenes, we use a couple of these fake book covers, and that's going to give us our backdrop. Now usually these are integrated into the scene, but being out in the open we really don't need them, so they're just here for storage for when we want to pack away our scene and put it onto our bookshelves. I was considering actually building this one into a cover, but these hidden ones work better for the upper level of displays. So let's get it out again. Then I'm sure you're all familiar with the Shrieking Shack scene from the movies, and it's only ever seen at a distance, hence making it in micro scale, and all of the main work in the scene happens in the foreground. Let's bring our shack in. You can see here, just got those cheese wedges just to start the transition into the distance. And we'll put the backdrop in. You may have spotted this little piece. I'll show you a bit more about that later. So here's our scene. Foreground, background, and now of course we need the minifigures that are involved. This is that scene from The Prisoner of Azkaban, where Hermione and Ron are checking out the Shrieking Shack, and along comes Crabbe, Slytherin Boy as he's credited, although elsewhere in the Harry Potter media he's known as Pike, and of course Draco Malfoy. So Malfoy, Ron and Hermione are from the latest advent calendar, and Goyle and Pike are Crabbe and Pike are a couple of MOCs that are knocked up. So this can be one scene for the early years. Obviously we don't need Harry in this scene because he's under cover of the invisibility cloak. So let's see what we can do about using this space for a different scene in the Wizarding World. So for this scene we're going to need to build up another minifigure, and this one's going to be unique to this scene, as you'll see later. I'm not going to be able to use it elsewhere. Now this head, which is from Bellatrix Lestrange, really not the best head I could use for this scene, but unfortunately there isn't one that's really any better. And if you know of one, and when you see the scene you can let me know, that'd be great. The hair's from the latest Pocahontas CMF, and the minifig's arms are actually detached from its body, because of course we're making Katie Bell from when she was cursed. We popped her arms on this framework. It's just a couple of transparent elements. So we've used a Technic pin in the bottom of this cylinder piece just to reverse the stud direction. That allows us to stud in just to the back of Katie's leg there. Now because of the angles of minifig hands and the angle on the minifig action clips there, just by a bit of twiddling you can just about get those shoulders to line up with her shoulder holes, and that will largely obscure them. Then we're going to pop her up on one of these flying stands, and in the bottom of that we've got a cylinder, and that's going to help us attach her onto the base. So there's Katie up in the air suffering from that curse. So obviously this scene wouldn't make much sense without the cursed amulet itself, so we'll bring that back. So this is just a gold chain linked to itself, and then we've got one of those pearlescent gems on the top, like opalescent rather. So we've got a bit of wiggle, so if you want to call that a play feature, you can do, of Katie being thrown about by the curse. And of course we get Hermione and Ron and Harry looking on in horror. I think when I display this, I'm definitely going to give them the longer legs, because obviously this is seen from their 6th year. Shrieking Shack of course wasn't in the background here, so you can leave it without, and from the low viewing angle that I see it from on my very high shelf, you don't really see the floor. I think seeing as this is the display space for the Shrieking Shack, and I want it to be on display, it's going to stay in the scene. I don't think it detracts from the scene, doesn't really change it too much. Of course, if you didn't want it there was another way we could fill in the backdrop, and I just made a little test build of a very distant Hogsmeade station. So this is just sort of a test of concept. See, the back is completely unfinished, and I've got that unsightly dark tan piece sticking out of the front. It just gives us something to have at the other end of the lane, and here we are at the lower viewing angle, and it doesn't look too bad. Something interesting to look at, but with the height of Katie in the composition, having the Shrieking Shack in there just bridges that space between those low down minifigures and Katie being quite so high up. So there we go, that's our scene. This is Hogsmeade Lane with our Shrieking Shack integrated into the background. So we've nearly finished my display for Hogsmeade. I think I might do a change of scene video soon, showing the whole setup with the whole village and the lane all displayed. Got one more build, and that's coming next week. That's nearly ready, just hoping a set of stickers arrive in time for that. If you'd like to join us on any other social media, see the addresses on the screen above. And for more Hogsmeade mock builds, please subscribe to Bricking It. Bye bye.